Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a beautiful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, in your mind, how does white privilege work? For us, all white people have white privilege, but to them, they don't have white privilege. Listen to this.
I grew up on food stamps with a single mom with 4 kids, clothes that never fit right, and then I went no contact with my parents the day after I graduated high school. And I have been completely on my own ever since. No financial support, no safety net.
Now, we already know what she's setting us up for. She's setting us up to tell us that she didn't have any white privilege because she grew up on food stamps, clothes that didn't fit, and a single mom. Now, that is the scenario that you fit a black woman into because that's how the media and the society has set it up. But lots of white people have that life too. So when they hear white privilege, they don't think it belongs to them. But let's let her talk some more.
So when someone told me I had white privilege, I wanted to flip a table because I knew what my life had actually looked like, and privilege was not the word for it. And honestly, I think this is where most people get stuck. Because when you hear white privilege, your brain hears easy life. It hears trust fund. It hears handed to you. And if your life has not looked like that, the term feels like an insult.
White privilege is the everyday benefits white people receive simply because they are socially categorized as white. It doesn't mean they're going to have a great life. It doesn't mean they're going to have a lot of money. It doesn't mean their parents are not going to get divorced. It doesn't mean that they're not going to wear ill-fitting clothes. It simply means that their life is not made any worse because they're white. That's all white privilege is. Now, to many black people, white privilege means they have a lot of money, they have an easy life, and all of that. But that's not what white privilege means. White privilege means that the bank, the doctor, the police, the teachers, and anybody else you want to name does not make your life worse because you're white. The bank will let you have the loan, even though they know you can't afford to pay it back. The police won't give you a ticket or tase you or unalive you. The teacher won't mark your paper down harsher than they will a black person. That's all it means.
Exemption from discrimination. Not a silver spoon, not a head start. The absence of a specific kind of obstacle that other people have to navigate. Someone finally explained it to me in a way that broke through. And I want to give you the same sentence they gave me. It's not about what you have. It is about the roadblocks you do not have to worry about.
And as it turns out, not having a roadblock or not having roadblocks, because that's what black people have roadblocks. So, not having roadblocks within itself makes your life easier. You see, when you go into the bank and you go into the post office, people still look at you as a black person as if you are an alien when you've been in this country longer than they have. But you can still walk into a space, just a regular space, and people will start staring at you. You can just go see a movie, and if you're sitting around the wrong white people, they will make sure that you don't enjoy that movie. And all of us have experienced it on some level if we're not white. So she doesn't have to worry about that because when she shows up as a white woman, nobody's going to stare at her. Nobody's going to look at her. Nobody's going to make her feel, if they can. I think some black people have said, "You're not going to make me feel uncomfortable. If I feel uncomfortable, you're going to feel uncomfortable too." But look how long it took us to get there.
I applied to colleges with no guidance counselor, no parents helping me write essays, no one proofreading my applications. That was hard, but my applications got read. My name on the top of that page did not get me filtered out before anybody saw my GPA.
Now, if you went to an HBCU as a Black person, you didn't have the problem that she's talking about. However, if you went to a PWI, you might have had that problem. And we have heard about employers looking at certain names, and if it sounds like a what they call ghetto name, then they don't call you back for an interview. So that's what she means by that. Just a little thing like applying for a job and having a name that they don't recognize, or a name that doesn't sound familiar to them, or a name that sounds ghetto to them will get your application thrown out. So that's what she means by that.
I've been pulled over before, and I was annoyed. I was worried about the ticket. I was worried about my insurance going up. I was not worried about whether I was going to make it home alive. That is the invisible knapsack Macintosh was talking about.
And that is one of the biggies of white privilege. You can make it home alive after having an encounter with the police. And sometimes you make it home alive, but they just come across as being so arrogant and so intimidating that they still ruin your day. Even if you get out of it without getting tased or shot, you still come out of it feeling worse for just having the encounter. So that's what white privilege is, just being able to survive an incident with the police. And added to it is the other things that they can do just to make your life uncomfortable. And that's what white privilege is, just not making things worse than what they would be ordinarily. Life is hard enough just on its own. Trying to get through this world is enough trouble by itself. And then when you got somebody intentionally making the day worse, or making the week worse, or the month worse, or the lifetime worse, then you can appreciate your white privilege.
And this is the part where I want to be really clear because I know somebody is in the comments typing, but that's just anecdotal. It is not anecdotal.
It's not anecdotal. Things happen to Black people all the time that don't happen to white people. Little things, just little things. Just going about your daily walk, not bothering anybody, not really trying to cause any trouble, and trouble will follow you sometimes just because you're Black. So it's not anecdotal. If it's not happening to one Black person, it's happening to another. So this is what white supremacy does, and white people who do have white privilege don't know about it.
So when I say white privilege, I am not saying your life was easy. I am not saying you did not work for what you have. I am not saying you owe anybody an apology for surviving whatever you survived. I am saying that whatever you survived without one specific category of obstacle stacked on top of it. And that is worth being honest about. You can have had a brutally hard life and still have a knapsack you have never had to unpack. Both of those things can be true at the same time. They were both true for me. And once you can hold both of them, the term stops feeling like an attack and starts feeling like a description.
This was actually a very good description of white privilege. She learned that even though she didn't have the birthright that gave her money and status and class and advantage, she still had a privilege that many people in this society don't have. We don't have the luxury of assuming that we're going to walk in a space and not be looked at. We don't have the privilege of assuming that the police is going to acknowledge our humanity. So that is worth something. It's not everything, but it's worth something. So whiteness still protects white people, even in poverty. And that's something. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about this video and have a good evening.